Hi everyone. My name is Gaurav Batra, and I'm founder and director at Cyberfrat. So in Cyberfrat, we have this brand called CXO Junction, and on this we are doing this specific session. So in CXO Junction, basically we get all the leaders together to discuss about the evolving scene of cybersecurity, risk management, and emerging technologies. So today the topic which we have is basically on artificial intelligence. So we have seen that AI is getting or being part of our life. So in day out, we are using or getting merged. So businesses are not away from it. Either you take it like marketing, sales, networks, or infrastructure, IT, smart offices, smart homes. Everywhere AI is getting built. So personal life, we are somewhere already using it. The discussion which we want to have today is how artificial intelligence is going to change the growth in the enterprises. So the topic which we have choose today is achieving growth with AI-driven enterprise. And as we always try to get the leaders on board to discuss about the challenges and the pain points which they have in this area, we also invite a partner or an SME who is already pioneer in this particular field and helping the other clients to achieve or solve this kind of problem. So for this specific session, we have partnered with Juniper Network. So Juniper Network is basically create innovative products to and solutions for the network domain, and in association with Inspira Enterprise, which is they are having expertise in the next gen digital transformation requirements. So along with from these two organizations, we have two SMEs. One is Vinoth Baskar, who is enterprise system engineering lead from South Juniper Networks, and with him joining us is the Raghunath Davate. He's a practice lead global infra network security, Inspira Enterprise India Limited. So welcome, Vinoth and Raghunath.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
and we have our guest panels who are going to be discussing about this topic. So I will like to welcome one by one all of you. So Vamsi Krishnan, Krishna GV, he's VP IT, Quislax. We have Aditya Mukherjee,
Hello
VP
everyone.
JSOC,
Morning.
running Synchrony. Hi Aditya. Yogesh Kumar, Head IT, Tata Advanced Systems. Hi Yogesh. We have Mukesh Arya, Manager Data Governance, Vodafone. Ramkumar Mohan, CIO, Airworks Group. And we have Harish Kotilil, Director Technology, Omega Healthcare Management Services. So welcome everyone. It's nice to see you, see a full house on the time, and nice to see you all face to face connect. So as I said, it's achieving growth with AI-driven enterprise. So Vinod, I will request you to first set the context, and then we will, be in the Q&A session. So over to you, Vinod.
Thank you, Gaurav, and thanks for having me here. And I'd like to thank all the panelists first for taking their time to be part of this discussion. And as the topic says, AI for the growth of your enterprise, right? So in Juniper, we believe that we have this phrase called experience first networking, right? So it's not just about giving users just the way they want to connect to an application or connect to consume an application or use some feature and capability. It's not just about that. We need to ensure that they get the best of the experience they get out of it, right? And AI plays a very key role in getting this done in today's world. Not just AI with the machine learning, right? All these combined together is bringing that capability into the networking field. And I would love to hear how AI is changing or shifting the way you work in your respective verticals, which could be a healthcare industry or an aeronautics, or could be a financial sector. I would love to hear from you how AI is changing the way you operate today. And I would also love to share my experiences I had with my customers and how Juniper has helped our customers to really bring in AI into IT, which has really helped them to enhance the user's experience here. Thanks. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Vinod. And for everyone, I think this is a concept which we wanted to have so that we can have that meeting in the morning and during having a breakfast, and then wrap this up and start with our work. So thank you. I think all of you have got your breakfast with you, and you can do munch and discuss around. We want to have more it of a discussion out of your heart where you can actually talk anything. So thanks, Vinod, for setting the context. So what I will do is now I will quickly like to have 1 minute from each of you to understand, because right now we have seen that automation is the key in this world or in the industry, and IT is no more a support function; it has become business enabler. So, what your current role in the digital transformation journey, and what you are envisioning that how IT is going to change with it. So, I will like to hear about your role, what you are currently doing, and what you think the digital transformation will happen, or any steps or anything you are taking in that area. So we can start with the alphabetic order, maybe. Aditya, with you.
That's the only drawback of having a name with A. All right. Thanks, Gaurav, and thanks, Vinod, for setting the context. I think because I look at the infosec at Synchrony, the primary focus of the organization is digital itself, because we are a digital first bank and we have majority of our services focused at IT services towards our client. But in my experience, what I've seen is that when we talk about digital transformation, mostly it's about the process transformations, which includes your automation, your orchestration, and security analytics, which would provide you insights and helpful inputs as to how you can operationalize or even streamline your business going forward. The other thing which comes into is the business model transformation. This again would be integration of different services. So in our organization, what the IT team had done was that we had multiple clients and multiple services that we had. We started creating something like a super app, which would provide a single pane of glass to the end user so that he can get all of the services that the company has, and also provide integration between the services. For just a example, what I would pay is say is for example, you're ordering from Zomato and you need to pay through Paytm. So that Paytm and Zomato integration is something that we have done. Just an example. Talking about domain transformation, which is something that the organization has focused on, is being a cloud first approach. So in 2020, as we all know, there was a paradigm shift of how we were working. So a lot of focus has been towards putting our services on the cloud platforms, also provide additional domain expertise such as credit monitoring and insights on how the user is spending. I know in India there are multiple applications that do that, but it's more about the mindset of how you define your vision as to where you want to go. Define the use cases which will come handy and have the quick wins and the long term strategic wins. um, Another thing is understanding the skill set that you have, the technology that you have, and the tech stack that you have in your organization, because these things come fundamental when you're changing your organization's footprint from a physical world to, say, a digital transformation. Lastly, I would say creating a roadmap and ensuring that you have the right skills and also have the right leadership buy-in and the executive leadership sponsorship. That's what I would say.
Gaurav, you're on mute.
Sorry. Thanks, Aditya. I think that's quite helpful to start the context, and it gives us a good background of yours. So, Harish, you go next.
Hey, thanks, Gaurav. I think Aditya had really put the context well in terms of how the technology is nowadays shaping up. The same thing in the organization. See, Omega, we have been pioneers in this healthcare industry. We started the journey from 2003, and we are one of the pioneers out, especially in the medical outsourcing business out, right? So, just like how we have evolved in technology, if you look into it, is like if you said that earlier more of technology was in a support function. Right now, we have brought the technology most into a core function, right? So that's the main transformation which I talk
Yeah.
about. Because unless otherwise you have a digital transformation, if you're looking into it, we need to ensure that the support it becomes a core part of it in the case of business, right? So that's what we brought into it. There's a first step that itself has created a lot of mindset changes out. And everyone knows today technology is a backbone for any of the things out. So what we typically do is just to give you a kind of things out. Our basic clients are the payers out, right? Providers and payers. So this is what I mean. So what typically we do is we see how we can, ease and give them a better experience, right? How can we get the clients a better experience? And the buzzword is now AI, as rightly Gaurav said. The buzzword is AI. So where we bring in AI is wherever we also leverage RPA, right? We bring in RPA and ML, right? We get into all those technologies out to ensure that the experience is the best out there. Talking about AI, I think in various pockets we've implemented this AI in various things out, especially talking about the user experience that we are talking about, the business analytics that we are talking about, right? So we have done that because we had an in-house technology where you have different departments out. So that's the thing that we had brought into it. But I think still there's a huge future for AI in terms of I'm talking about the predictive analysis that we are talking about, right? So there's a huge, I think still there's a lot of things in AI still to go about it. So I'll make it short now. Thanks.
Sure. Thanks, Harish. I think yeah, digital transformation is happening quite in the healthcare industry, and I think you will be quite kept busy over there as well. So yes, so I think we have not Mukesh joining us, right, Moini? I'm not able to see his name as of now. So Ramkumar,
Yeah, I'm there.
yeah,
Thanks. Thanks, Gaurav. All right. So, morning, everyone. I come from aviation MRO industry, which is MRO stands for maintenance, repair, and overall. Uh, what we do is we manage aircrafts, the maintenance, repair, and engineering side of aircraft. Other than flying, we do, we try to do everything when it comes to aircraft, whether it's engineering, avionics, interior. So that's what we are into. So this aviation MROs, especially in India, it's very highly fragmented, because of the complexity involved in this sector. Talking about Airworks established in 1951. Now it's India's largest MRO. We provide host of services to airlines, to defense and business jets and OEM and all. So now this was started as a closely knit family-owned business, and that's how it was running for the last 7 decades. Now we finished 72 years. So the digital, I would not say digital transformation, but the way it started in Airworks is having technology here and there to support the business. That's how it started a few years before. Um, uh, Not just because of the organization, but because of the industry, it was operating in aviation sector. However, in the last 4-5 years, there's a lot of change in the way we operate. And last 2 years, obviously, pandemic has uh, uh, enabled us to adopt digital transformation in much faster way. We
yeah,
didn't have choice like many of us. So that's how it happened. So IT and digitization gained traction, at Airworks once the reins of the company were handed over to professional management, when it moved from family run business to, professional run business few years before, and in sync with the growth of aviation, being witnessed in the country. So that renewed focus helped Airworks, transform from a company having non-integrated IT infrastructure comprising legacy servers and system, into one. Today, it is a multi-cloud, connected, and intelligent infrastructure. That's what I would call it. Uh, uh, IT has come a long way in the last few years, and though Airworks is known as aviation engineering company, but I don't mind to say that now it's digital engineering company. Though our service remains same, but the way we use technology, the data into a business has changed a lot. Uh, and as I said, COVID has definitely accelerated our journey, digital journey, and top to bottom, starting from management till the end user, it enabled all of us to adopt it in much faster way. And
Sure.
now talking about very specifically about AI and or BI, I would add BI also into discussion. The way we have used this, though the industry is moving much faster towards using AI for predictive and prescriptive maintenance when it comes to aircraft. In Airworks, yes, that's what we are currently working on, from descriptive maintenance to predictive and prescriptive maintenance. That's something that we are working on. Now,
Sure.
in the current date, the way we use data and combining with BI and some amount of AI is to use data uh, to predict when the aircraft comes to us for maintenance, what kind of uh, uh, materials or parts we would require, what kind of tools would be required. So that's
Yeah.
something earlier it would happen once the aircraft landed and the engineer does the physical side of physical verification of the aircraft and then list down, okay, this is fault and this is damage and this is what we need. That's how typically it happens. But now we are moving ahead of that we want to know once the aircraft landed, what all we need so that not only our operation team in the supply chain, which is a core factor to meet our TAT, is driven accordingly. So that's what we do. I think last year we launched a product called MSite, which is maintenance MSite, which is nothing but the way we use data and analyze data and predict uh, not only what I mentioned now, but also giving visibility to our management and customers because uh, once aircraft is landed for grounded for maintenance, each minute cost money, and
Definitely.
airline customer do not want to park the aircraft for longer time, so they want us to deliver it as quickly as possible. So they are very keen to know the status quo of the maintenance, what's happening to the aircraft, and where are we now? Are we achieving TAT, or is there any delay, or is there any unforeseen challenges? So customer is keen to know, and even from management side, we want to know because even if one part is delayed, as part of supply chain cycle, that can delay our TAT and that can ground the aircraft for few more hours.
Yeah.
And
Def-
so we use this MSite tool, which is driven by data to understand what we need in the beginning itself. And also we give visibility to our management, operation team and customers. So everyone is
Sure.
on the same page, to know that, okay, this is what happening to the aircraft and this is what we need. And this is how it will happen tomorrow. And we are on the way to achieve that. So this is something
Sure.
we launched, which has been
Thanks.
well
Thanks,
accepted
Ramkumar. I
by
think,
customers.
yeah, in aviation industry, data analytics and prediction is definitely helpful. And without that, I know how dangerous it can be. I think I have many more questions in the networking side, the analytics side of you. How you're using currently managing all these networks and how you are doing that. So I will come to you with all those questions. Maybe let's, Mamsi, I would like to hear from you what your perspective on that.
Sure, Gaurav. Hi. I come from legal industry, like Harshil and he come from the healthcare. We are into similar lines, but we provide legal services. It's a different industry. We've been in the industry for almost 2 decades, and we provide contract management and litigation services. I take care of the IT infrastructure and cybersecurity, and also part of technology transformation group. So AI, leveraging AI in legal industries was a myth, previously couple of years ago, and legal industry now started adopting AI for technology assisted review, especially for litigation. So we leverage TAR, technology assisted review, for predictive coding. So that our lawyers will be able to kind of take a faster decisions based, and we train the system, so that will help us to for a faster decision making from a legal perspective. And also from a contracts perspective, I think you all know that MSAs and NDAs, right? So we also kind of you leverage tools that have ML capabilities, so that I abstract the information from the lot of legal clauses, and then ability to highlight and give us I'll tell clients as us where we need to concentrate more, which term needs to be modified, all that, right? What is the expiry clause, etc. So we are leveraging, and industries, even legal, is adopting for a better decision making. So from AI side, that's on the core operations, and we closely work with the business to align ourselves, since technology is not a kind of a support function. So we work with them to bring in analytics. We leverage a lot of analytics to provide clients a single pane of glass view for various services that we provide, and also for our core operations business leaders to take a faster decision from an analytics perspective. So that we've started leveraging a lot of analytics within our industry. So that's from our AI perspective. And we also do a lot of also language translation. So we use NLP. So we leverage some of the tools that will help us from an NLP perspective. So some of the language reviews that our lawyers do, right? So for example, French or Japanese or Chinese, so we don't find those lawyers, language specific lawyers. So what we use is language translation tools that will help our lawyers to kind of review the different language reviews. So the NLP is also pitching up and picking up, and the ability to give us accurate information, etc. So that's
Sure.
about it. A little bit. I wanted to keep it short. Thanks, Gaurav. Yeah.
And thanks, Vamsi. Good to hear about, I think every industry is using AI. That's great. So, Yogesh,
Yeah, good morning, all of you.
morning.
Uh, I belong to a defense industry, and as AI ML is coming into every industry, so it is coming into a defense also. So what we are doing into the for the with the AI ML. So apart from the IT part, there are the softwares and the solutions that we are giving to defense. So we are using the AI/ML technology for the equipments like radars, rocket launchers, missile launchers, to have a precision kind of shooting, and detections of mines from the surface itself, so that we can save the life of soldiers before they step into those mines itself. So this is at a great pace we are doing it, and a lot of solutions we are making for the. There are a couple of solutions. Definitely, these are confidential projects, so I cannot reveal. But yes, we are doing those kind of projects. Then we have. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hello. Okay.
You are. So there is a
Sorry.
lag, but you are audible. Yeah. I think maybe if you can fix
Oh.
that lag, that will be helpful.
Okay. Thank you. So
Yeah.
am I audible?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
better
it's
now.
proper
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
Okay. So that sort of AI we are using for the defense purposes, and for the internal also we are using lot of analysis onto the defects, so that we can prevent the defects at the end, means after the manufacturing of the equipment, the defects are there. So in order to prevent that, we are using predictive analysis using AI ML. The only challenge that we found, because we are into defense, so we can't put the data onto the cloud. So
Hmm.
we are using a lot of computing power on premise. So we buy a lot of stuff towards that, and we are in discussions with the companies where they can provide us the compute power at on premises, on the go, that can scale up. So as far as and as far as data confidentiality is concerned, so what are the methods to wipe out those things? So security at times, as you know, that it becomes very critical for us. So that is the challenge, or you can say the opportunity also for us to explore more things into it. So we are working towards that, and we are trying to go away with the jobs which are repetitive kind of things in case of IT solutions when it comes to the user and service. So with the use of automation or AI ML technologies, we can have prediction of the problems that a user can have. So because his time is critical, or his productivity is affected if there is a problem in the system itself. So
Sure.
we are trying some technologies which have that one.
Great.
So
Thanks,
going forward,
Yogesh.
yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
yeah. I think, yeah, we have a quite a diverse people here. So maybe Raghunath, I will like to understand from you how you are seeing these trends in the industry and what kind of other use cases you have seen as this gentleman has already described. So, yeah.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. Good to see everyone and get along with everyone during the breakfast. Nice time to have a small discussion. So yes, of course, post-COVID, the complete technology landscape have changed, right? Everybody, usually IT used to be a support function. Now it is the driver for the business, right? So I have been talking with many of my customers how the technology have changed their approach towards their own business because because of COVID, most of the businesses have gone online, right? So and the data is coming in now. What to do with that data, where to use that data, that is the one of the biggest question, right? That's where your AI and ML functionalities kicks in, right? You have data now, you can do predictive analysis of that data, you can use it to uh, to enhance the business, to enhance the service delivery, and of course to have a better end user experience. After all, when we are talking on the journey of digital transformation, what matters most is customer experience. That is nothing but the end user experience. Customer can be internal customer or can be your external customers. How ease of operations and ease of management, right? How I can consolidate all my whether it is a network or data, and how can I proactively utilize it to predict any uncertain or upcoming failures or inefficiencies in my business, whether it can be technical, whether it can be human as well. On at the same time, precisely talking about playing around with data. If we look into the analytics as a system or AI as a the technology, it is good to have. Everybody like to have, but it is not so easy to implement and not so easy to use as well, right? It should be human friendly, right? It should be user friendly. So these are the discussions and thought process what I have understood from my customers, right? The Okay. So these are the discussions what are happening, and most of the companies have moved on to the digital transformation path, as whether uh, it is with their own consent or by force, we can say, because COVID has pushed each and everyone to move on to that path. What I feel is, of course, digital transformation is nice to have. Then it is not only about end user experience, but it is effectively how we are going to leverage the technologies and how we are going to enhance the service delivery and security around that. So these are the things what we are talking with the customer at the moment, and the discussions are revolving around them. So keeping it short, Gaurav, I will take a pause over here so that you have a chance to interact.
Why it's going on mute all bar again again. So sure, Raghu, thank you. So we know how you see these trends and what's the perspective from your side.
Thanks, Gaurav. It's really good to know the way AI, ML, automation, and all these stuffs play a vital role in these various verticals. And thanks for this opportunity, first of all, because we could hear a lot of different experiences from various verticals, right? I mean, AI, I got to know today that AI is now a life-saving thing for our soldiers who
Yeah.
are going there in the war, right? This is something new which I heard today, right? And the way we use AI, ML. And if you notice one thing here, whether it's digital transformation that we talk about, or your movement to adoption of cloud, or moving to cloud, or automation and stuff like that, everything finally boils down to one thing, which is the end user's experience. We are doing all these stuffs to ensure that the user who's going to consume whatever is planning to consume, could be an application, could be an app, could be a a food app where he wants to make a payment, where one of our gentlemen mentioned about integrating a food app with a payment. It's all about user experience, right? And in Juniper, our first priority, as I started with this phrase, like experience first networking. So experience is the new uptime today. It's not about just keeping your network live and running, but it's about experience is the new uptime for us. And one of the key thing is, how do we measure this user experience, right? Because people talk a lot about user experience has to be good and we need to give a better experience, but are we able to really measure that experience in all these verticals or technologies that we deploy? That is something questionable, and this we have been working on for many years, and we now got hold of it where we are now able to measure users experience, at least in the IT space, in the networking space. For example, if you as Raghu mentioned, there's a humongous amount of data that comes in, but are we in a position to use those data in a right way and consume it and make it useful for us? That's the key here, right? This is where AI and ML plays a key role. Now, there is for example, if you take a Wi-Fi network, right, or even your wire network that runs on all these offices, campus, your industries, right? There's a huge amount of data. Now, what we do is we collect these states. In even in Wi-Fi alone, we collect around 150 states of information about your wireless network, who is connected, how he is connected, he's getting a good coverage or not, and these aspects, right? Just one example I'm giving, like that can cover many examples in your wired, your WAN network and things like that. Now we collect these data and apply the AI ML algorithm onto it, and we give some usable information which can be used by the IT operators to manage their networks. This way, we will be able to measure the user's experience. We call something called SLE, service level expectations. You would have heard about the term SLAs because that's something you agree to deliver, right? Something like that. We provide something called SLE, service level expectation. For example, if I'm a wireless user, if I'm connecting to my wireless, I would be having a better user experience if I connect within 1 or 2 seconds. It will be a bad experience for me if I'm going to connect to my wireless network after 2, 3 attempts, multiple attempts, or if I'm going to connect after 5 minutes or something. It's going to be a bad experience. We do measure all these aspects, and AI, ML, and automation helps us to not only measure them, but also help us find what is the root cause of this. I'm really able to correlate this with what Mr. Ramkumar mentioned, where before even a flight could be grounded, the engineers or the team on the ground knows really what has gone wrong, or what needs to be replaced, or what needs to be repaired, or what needs to be serviced in a particular aircraft, right? That's the same kind of experience we need to bring in every technology or every aspect of in the industry, and we are trying to bring the same in the IT industry. Before even someone could come and complain to me, hey, my video conferencing is not working, the video is choppy, right? I should be able to gather all those data in a proactive way, predict that this is going to fail and fix that before even this could happen. Now, this is what AI and ML brings onto the table, especially in the networking industry. And we are effectively using this today, Gaurav. Gaurav, again, you're on mute.
Some issues with my headphone today. I don't know. It's automatically going on mute again and again. Sorry for that, guys. I think that's quite insightful, and I think there are many different use cases we have seen today, and either it's aviation or either it's a security or legal or data analytics, user experience, whatever we talk, and whenever we are building the complex IT systems, artificial intelligence, the main thing which required is having a strong foundation of the network, right? So if we are putting the AI in the network and we can actually monitor, enhance, and secure our network using the AI, I think that's the best thing which all industries should be taking it away from. So to the panels here, I will like to understand what how they see the network and if they are already moved from traditional to the application based network or any future plans or enhancement which are happening in network. And before I ask any one of you to pick this question, I think I observe Mukesh has also joined. So Mukesh, if you can, first of all, welcome. If you can just give a 1 minute introduction to you, and then when I'm asking question, you can pick any one which you think you like to answer. So yeah.
Thanks, Gaurav, and good morning, everyone. And sorry, apologies, probably being late joining in this session, a great session, probably. Let me introduce myself. Probably, I'm working with Vodafone Associated as a data governance manager. So probably we handle the large amount of data for all our stakeholders, or what I can say across all local markets, what we call across them as our internal stakeholders. So we have a large amount of data which we're playing across within in terms of particularly with my local markets data, and so that and it's our duty probably to secure enough their data while getting interacted through the tools while it is getting published across, or maybe internally circulated across, or maybe externally messaging across, or maybe we are exchanging emails across, or maybe sharing across those data as well. So that's pretty much crux in terms of what I'm dealing with multiple sort of security postures coming into picture and applying those aspects so that it can be made a good enough or secure enough so that our internal stakeholders are having a confidence that yes, the data is secured enough within the organization.
Sure. I think yes, secure data and data analytics is quite required. So I will definitely love to have more insights from you when
Sure.
we are talking the prediction and the security part of it. Definitely. So, yeah, from the network side, who will like to talk on the uh, your organization's network point of view? So I think anyone can pick, or else again Aditya will say, "Oh, I am A. You are calling me." So
I'll
maybe
start.
Harish. Okay. So yeah,
So,
Ramkumar, please.
from network perspective, as I mentioned, that now we use multi-cloud
Hmm.
uh, in our infrastructure. Uh, we have not yet moved towards software-defined networking. We though we use multi-cloud, but the way we have designed our network is, we continue to use our on-prem setup as a perimeter entry and then connecting other things. So that's how we have currently defined. But yes, we are exploring SD-WAN solution, and there are some POCs going on. So soon we will move towards automated software-defined networking.
I hope Raghunath, you are making note of this. Just on the right. So
That's why
POs
very
are already
specifically
going.
use the word POC. So
By obvious.
Uh, thank you. So Harish, how's that your side? It's
So I think from the healthcare segment, the most of the aspects, as you all know about it, I think many of you are aware of it. Data is one of the most critical part of it for us. Every data costs a lot for us, right? We think a lot before we moving in and out. So the messaging that you talked about, or the packets for us is like uh, it's like dollars and dollars every packet
mm,
that goes in and out. So having said that, we have not gone into that extent of it, even though I think in the recent years, just to give you a thing, I think many of them talked about the steps. I just wanted to make it short, bringing one more point of it. We've acquired a lot of organizations like Apex, right? Reventex. So we have all taken the steps in such a way to ensure that, the digital transformation, right? So we have taken those steps recently by acquiring various other, organizations as a first step and telling and during this pandemic situation, definitely yes, we have all gone into the cloud, right? So that's one of the things. We have most of our things are onto the cloud. So we are all just like any other organizations. We have gone into that. And the same, we are leveraging ML, AI, everything, because AI and ML, NLP has to go hand in hand, right? So that's very important. It's not an isolated solution or isolated technology, because data is the first and the foremost thing that we require. We require a lot of data in order to do the kind of artificial intelligence, right? Or even the predictive analysis using the BI and so on. So that's the area. Now, getting into the network part of it, one of the things we are yet to explore more on that. I heard from one of the things from, saying that, especially from Vinoth saying that, what about even if I know that in the next 1 hour or 15 minutes, my network is going to get down? Excellent. I think that's something which we all, it's a dream for us to do that rather than giving a postmortem saying that that's something definitely. I think that's the way. But in other places, we have been going far ahead in terms of business, in terms of client experiences, right? To the payers, to the providers. We have been far away on those aspects because our focus was more on towards that. But definitely, yes, we would like to explore more from Vinoth on those aspects, where you see about, the network that we talked about, a kind of a predictive analysis, right? Just like now that we have predictive analysis on the business part of it, right? The data, different other aspects. The same way, if you can have those things out saying the next 15 minutes, as we talk, the audio is going to go out, or the video is going to go out, or your Wi-Fi is very bad in network. Currently, we get a small message stating that, saying that the Wi-Fi is bad. Okay, something more than that. That's something which definitely I would like to explore, Vinod, from this. Definitely, yes.
Sure, Vinod, I think if you okay, Vamsi, yeah, please. Then Vinod, you can consolidately
Sure.
respond to all the queries here.
So from a Quizlet standpoint, so as Harish said, right, we are also similar in the data is very important for us. So before pandemic, we were never a work from home company, right? So we always work from office. So I think pandemic taught us many of us, how to be agile from a workforce perspective, and also bring in how the business can be resilient, right? So we started adopting, and we brought in a lot of technology from a remote working perspective. We started adopting cloud. I think when we're talking about cloud, we'll talk about more details. But from a WAN perspective, right, SD-WAN, for example, we haven't explored much, but we leverage some of the functionality that are coming from our some of the firewalls between our branch offices, or it could be between cloud and our main office. So we started leveraging, but we definitely like to explore more on that. How to optimize bandwidth, could be bandwidth, or also bring in analytics. For example, the bandwidth, how the bandwidth can go down, or that can cause user experience, right? User experience. So if you can get that analytics, I think we'll definitely explore in those aspects. So, but from a Quizlet standpoint, that's where we stand now. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Vamsi. Aditya, Yogesh, you like to add anything on this point? And then I'll ask Vinod to consolidate
Sure.
from
So
yeah.
we do have some amount of focus on the SD-WAN implementation in the environment. And I would say the primarily benefits that we have seen so far is obviously reduction in the operational cost, improved performance. Some of the things that we are really focusing on to leverage out of SD-WAN and such services is to see zero touch provisioning, better network segmentation, and connectivity with the cloud. So that's where we are moving towards.
Sure.
So we are also discussing with the solution providers regarding the SD-WAN solutions. And as far as end computing is concerned, we are also using some solutions, some POCs going on where we can have predictive analysis as uh, there was a point that regarding video conference that we can do a predictive analysis, or we should know that when it is going to fail. So similarly on the endpoint, when end user is going to fail or it is going to be corrupted. So for that predictive analysis, we are going to have a solution at some point of time. On to the network side, we are going to deploy solutions where we can have the complete picture of the network where we are having issues on the network side, so that before user gets a complaint, we are able to know that this is the problem where multiple users can have face issues. That sorts of analysis we are going on. Thank you.
Sure, Yogesh. So yeah, Vinod, if you can, put your perspective on the questions which Harish has and overall, yeah.
Sure, Gaurav. So, just like how Mr. Harish and others were really excited to know that, is this something possible to do in the IT? Because day in, day out, right, this is the complaint that we have, right? As an end user, right? As an end user, I just connect and I have this issue. Now, whatever I mentioned, whenever we demonstrated this to customer, and I mean, probably we will also have a one-on-one with all of you. I mean, based on your availability, and where we can have a one-on-one where we can also demonstrate these capabilities. We found that the moment we demonstrate this capability, fine, for a demonstration, and this is fine. In a live network, how does this really work? Now, I would like to bring in one of our customer experience here, where even within Juniper, we first adopted these kind of technologies first within Juniper, and many of our customers are also using. One of our customer, after seeing this, really challenged us, saying that, no, if you are able to predict all these issues, then my IT tickets should drastically come down, right? I mean, when I say IT ticket, a ticket raised by a end user should drastically come out, because we are able to find faults before even it could occur, or before even a user could experience. In such case, the user should not even raise a ticket, right? That he's having an issue. We took up that challenge with this one of the large global customer, and you won't believe some hundred just in the wireless and the wired space itself, 100 number of tickets are drastically come down to 10 tickets, right? And these 10 tickets, you might ask, what are these 10 tickets? These are sometimes the user thinks that is a wireless issue, or could be a wired issue, or but some other issue, right? So those kind of tickets were the ones. So we were very confidently able to show to our customer that this is the kind of prediction that we are able to give. And it's, when I say prediction, it's not just some kind of algorithm that works and gives you some guesswork. These are all the facts that we collect, right? As I mentioned, data is very key in any industry, whether it's medical, IT, or anything, right? In some places, it is very crucial. It is directly proportional to money. In some cases, I mean, it may be indirectly proportional to money, because the moment there is an outage, it's going to be a huge loss of money, right? So with this data, we are able to really predict, right? I can give you instances like, if there is a bad cable, a printer is there and there is a bad Ethernet cable attached, right? People are giving printouts, but nothing is coming out. You call the printer company, they come, they service everything. Network wise, it's fine. The switch is showing everything is up. But this predictive analysis that we use even can identify a bad cable, and we have a dashboard which shows that, hey, you know what, there's a bad cable here, right? It can go up to that level. Just to answer on the predictive analysis that we bring in managing your IT infrastructure. Now, with respect to the SD-WAN space, right? Again, we are bringing the similar capabilities not just on our wireless wired, but also on the SD-WAN solution. We acquired a company called 128 Technologies, right? And this is not like any other, just another SD-WAN company acquisition. We really wanted to acquire this company because the SD-WAN solution offered is unique from all the other vendors. Now, how is it unique? First thing, it's a tunnel-free solution. If you look at any SD-WAN solutions you have evaluated so far, or going to evaluate, you would see that everything would create some kind of overlay tunnels on top of it, using something called IPsec technology and things like that, which gives good level of security, encryption, fine, but it adds a lot of overheads, processing time, which means there is a direct impact with respect to the sizing of devices, with respect to user experience, a lot of things, right? But the solution that Juniper proposes, the SD-WAN solution, is a tunnel-free solution where you don't create any such tunnels. At the same time, you have a very high level of security, which is a standard security that we use, industry standard security measures that we use, and it's a completely a session-based SD-WAN solution. Now, what we are now trying to do is with this unique SD-WAN offering, where which can do also zero-touch provisioning. One of the gentlemen mentioned about that he wanted to have a zero-touch provisioning so that it can be rolled out. It should also bring in capabilities like bandwidth saving so that there is a reduction in cost, right? All these we'll be able to do, and much more than that. Especially many of the SD-WAN vendors do not focus on voice related stuff. For example, if there's or voice or video, if there is a video call going or a voice call going on, right? When a link fails, typically traditional SD-WAN solutions will fail over that link to another, but still your real-time communication still fails. But since Juniper's SD-WAN solution is session-based, we are able to move this video call to another link or a voice call to another link without any disruption to this voice or video call, right? And we can even shift them using something called MOS, which is mean opinion square. So the important thing is that it's not just about shifting your packets onto different links, but it's also about considering various other things like a Teams meeting is a real-time traffic, your voice communication, your video communication. So we have seen success in a lot of call centers, right? So gone are those days where SD-WAN is seen as it's a solution for someone who has multiple sites, who has more than 100 sites. Those are the targets for SD-WAN. Now today, even we have four numbers of offices or one head office with four branches. They prefer to have an SD-WAN solution because that enhances the user's experience, right? And the flexibility to have SD-WAN both on-premise as a SASE model, or Mr. Ramkumar or someone mentioned about the multi-cloud approach, where they have a hybrid cloud approach, where they have a private cloud, they have certain instances in public clouds. Whatever may be the case, we can have your SD-WAN POPs hanging in all of these clouds so that it can provide a very cohesive solution. On top of it, the AI and ML adds more capabilities with this kind of predictive analysis here.
Sure. I think that's quite overall the solution SD-WAN which you are providing, and with having that predictive and AI based solution on that, having all those analysis, I think that's quite a good one. Most of the industries are actually moving towards that. So let me quickly put this question to here, like most of you are on prime as well as on traditional network, or maybe moving to SD-WAN, and then many of you have actually moved to cloud and also thinking of putting this prediction or the monitoring on network as well. So that will give us an insight, like if you are already at the verge of using this SD-WAN, or how it's gonna be. Or maybe if you have any question to Vinod as well on previous, we would like to take that. So hey Mukesh, you are here. I don't know if you missed the question, but I will love to hear from you. Are you already on cloud and or trying to put something on the data governance and the data analytics which you're doing? Are you putting that on your network and cloud monitoring as well?
Yes, definitely, Gaurav. So probably what we are doing is in the background, the tool what we are using for data governance activities. So we are in the planning to move that from on-premise to the SaaS platform, what the vendor is offering across and all, which is giving us a leverage in terms of cost benefit. Yes, that is the one aspect what we are looking into. Plus the benefit of using their expertise, what they are into. Probably if I can say an example that yes, if you are on on-premise, you need to manage your entire stuffs like the patching of your tool itself when the new releases are coming across for the tool. So you have to manage your with your help of your team and all the outages and all. But moving across with the on the cloud platform, the entire responsibility becomes for your vendor, which is quite helpful for us because of short downfall what we get across for managing that for managing that tool itself altogether. Plus, the another aspects, the data which we play across, as I said earlier, gives us more functionality in terms of how we can play across with the data, which also is beneficial for our internal stakeholders or my local markets, which they upload their data in, and they give us the insights completely in a graphical representation way, what they are looking into to publish to the management and all. And they have the insights that how much amount of data they are playing with and facilities what the tool itself is providing to them. So overall, a package itself, that's what we have been moving across and using across this tool and all to give us the best insights.
Sure, Mukesh. Thank you. Raghu, how you see these trends happening in, like, in the industry where people are moving towards the cloud and putting the different data analytics and monitoring on cloud and network. And then after seeing your trend, I will go back to all and see that what they are on to it. Yeah.
So, yes, it is kind of inevitable that we cannot neglect cloud, right? And the trend has started and it has caught the pace due to COVID. So, when we are talking about working from anywhere or from home or office, I need data at a central place. And cloud is one of the cheapest medium where you can host your data. It can be either your own built private cloud or it can be a public cloud. But in some or other way, customers are moving onto the cloud. They are already onto the path. Yes, precisely in certain industries within India, if we are talking about finance, that is the banks, they may not have adopt the complete cloud approach. It will be always a hybrid or a multi-cloud approach because, like Mr. One of our panelists said, right, Yogesh, they are from the defense. They work majorly into the defense. They will not take a risk to put the data into a public cloud. They might have an approach to build their own private cloud and then get a public cloud storage as well. So building the multi-cloud story or a hybrid cloud kind of a story. But at the same time, now when the data is coming in onto the central location, of course, there is a lot of things what we can expect and what we can do. The by default thing comes into is doing an analysis to understand how my users are behaving, what kind of data I am getting, what information is getting accessed more, what is the productivity, and so on. Ultimately, when the data is coming, the other aspect which takes precedence over all this is the security. Now I have ample of data. Is my data secure? Because security is a never-ending process. It cannot be 100%, right? It will be always 99% in any secure environment. You always have a zero-day threats. So is my data secure enough? Whoever is accessing the data, are they authorized and allowed to access those data? And where all my data is getting downloaded and stored? So security becomes a pivotal function when we are talking about a cloud and a hybrid cloud of scenario. So my perspective with my client while talking onto their journey going over cloud or migrating their data center on the cloud is that the resistance and resistance comes onto the security level, right? So it is a layered approach where we have to not only it is outside the perimeter. It is not like we have a data center within the premise where it is easy to secure it from all the four sides and work on it. At the same time, when we are talking about cloud, we have to ensure that it is how to secure that data. We should have a layered approach towards it. We should have, once the data is there, we should have the data to be analyzed so that we can have predictive information coming in key what may get fail, how where my security lacks, and how I have to tackle with the upcoming problems. It can be external threats or so on.
Sure. Uh,
Yeah.
Okay, I think, yeah, Raghu. So overall, yes, in data analytics and this context, also. So Aditya, you must be doing a lot of monitoring work on from cloud and network. So are you also building AI in there and creating some monitoring experience from there?
We do definitely. So, since my core job is to look at the security operations center, so we definitely play along with a lot of monitoring mechanisms as well as alerting logics. And specifically, while talking about cloud, there are technologies which we are using which focuses on either service providers which are cloud native security platforms or posture management. And then we also have monitoring enabled through the automated security testing of our CI/CD pipelines. These pretty much provide us the continuous scans of
Hmm.
serverless functions and help us detect the emerging threats. From a network perspective, I think there are obviously services such as NetWitness and other applications which give us insights from a network standpoint.
Sure. Okay. And are you also playing any role to tell your IT team that, okay, so in network we should do these kind of enhancements so that in SOC you can do more monitoring kind of stuff, or building a AI based in their network and moving to SD-WAN. So all those kind of decision making or the discussions which happens around you. So how is it going in over there?
We do that. So, as an organization, we utilize the agile framework, due to which there's a lot of cross-team collaboration which happens on multiple projects, which have either strategic initiatives or which are driven by security-related goals which need to be met. When talking about data analytics and all of these things, there are a few service providers which we are utilizing, which provide out of the box, which are then contextualized based on the network team and the security team's objectives.
Sure. Thank you. So, Ramkumar ji, so I have one question for you from the perspective of user experience. I think you said many different use cases which you have been trying to build in, and where a lot of data analytics from the Asian industry, and for your management, for your operation user using AI and making up the user experience. What all things you are building on, and how you are looking forward to having these latest AI based technologies in there.
So I already mentioned about Insight, which we call it maintenance insight, to look into aircraft maintenance data and uh, do prediction and take decision based on that data. Now, the other project that we started working on is eSights, which is employee insights. Um, Now, again, this is only known to few people in Airworks, so
Okay.
I'm just discussing in this forum since it's not going to be published. Uh, uh, Airworks being a service organization, employees an asset, and 60-70% of our employee strength are engineers, the technicians who work on the aircraft. And as an organization, the manpower cost is it's a huge cost. We pay to the aircraft maintenance engineers, and hence monitoring their performance and productivity is very critical for us as an organization. So this e-side that I'm talking about will look into all data with respect to employee, starting from attendance, leave, travel, is daily activities, and what he's doing in a system, hours, collaboration with others within organization, and if is there are any disciplinary action, or even if employee is doing anything out of innovative things that he's doing. So we are connecting performance management system into the. So we are connecting every system and data which will tell us about the employee. So the management can look at this analytics tool or dashboard, and not only from operation perspective they can take a call, but also from strategy perspective they can come to know, do we need to reduce employees at particular site, or do we need to increase employees? Do we need to give training to a particular employee because of his, whatever the data insight that we get, and any specific training required for a particular employee, because for at a particular station, we are getting a aircraft for which we do not have necessary skill set at that particular station, based on the employee, the employees who are present. Then we need to do the, employee transfer, and from performance perspective, using this tool, we also launched scheme for all our employees so that it is more data driven when it comes to performance management, when it comes
Mm.
to employee monitoring, when it comes to even operation perspective, the operation management, everything is data driven. So this is something that we started working on. And from IT perspective also, I started looking into how we can use the data that are available. We use SESM, we use other IT monitoring tools. So and from the application development perspective, DevOps and other tools that we use. Now we are trying to pull data from everything and create a visualization tool that tells me as a CIO and also to my boss saying that this is what we are doing as a technology function and where we are not able to meet the deadline when it comes to the automation or application development because that's very critical activity that we are. There's so many projects that lined up. So management is industry know. So this is I said is something that we are working on. So I said is two projects that we are currently working on, Gaurav.
Sure. Thank you, Ramkumar. So maybe Vamsi and Yogesh, if you like to give your inputs on a monitoring part of it or user experience or analytics, what you guys are up to. Yeah.
Sure, Gaurav. So someone mentioned zero touch, right? So zero touch and zero trust is important aspect because
Hello?
security is one of the. So we've been using different
I think we
solutions.
cannot hear Vamsi clearly.
Vamsi, yeah, you're.
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah, thank you. So, zero trust, right? Someone mentioned zero trust and zero touch actually. So that's one of the important aspect for us. So since pandemic, after post pandemic, so the new normal is hybrid setup, right? So people working from offices, people working from home. So we've been using different technologies from a secure access perspective or a zero
I
trust.
think Vamsi, a lot of noise from your headphones are coming in, which is
Let me.
quite disturbing. Yeah. Maybe Yogesh, if you want to like to add something by the time Vamsi fix in, or Harish, I don't see you.
I can also add one context. So, from a user experience standpoint, using AI, we had a use case back in 2020 when we were facing a lot of different type of bot attacks against the organization. Now, since this is an organization which deals with financing as well as credit monitoring, there's a lot of reason and motivation for attackers to get into the organization using different bot attacks. So what we identified was that it was becoming difficult to block them using the manual mechanisms that we had in Akamai. We started using iovation, which is a service which enables you to stop application fraud at the source using the device reputation. So that, along with Akamai services such as Kona and Bot Manager, enabled us not just to understand who the user is and what their activities are in the infrastructure or the public facing application, but also get the reputational understanding of if this device has been seen in any kind of malicious activity in the past. And based on that, the application will actually prompt them with additional either captcha or security mitigations to confirm if this is a real user or this is a bot activity. So that helped us reduce a significant amount of bot attacks that we faced, and also helped reduce the downtime and overall head churn that we had from the operational teams as well as the network teams. So that's one use case that I can share.
Sure. Thanks, Aditya, for sharing that. And Vinod, maybe I will like to hear from more use cases from you that how you are helping different organizations to get the optimized monitoring of their network and also getting the best user experience together.
Yeah, sure. See, I think I would like to first touch on that, cloud adoption, right?
Yeah.
People mention that it is inevitable, and especially in this pandemic, people who were not even planning to go for a cloud, where who were having all on-prem, had to, move to cloud and devise policies to even, plan to go to cloud, right? Because the need of the hour is to at least move certain workloads or applications and consume things out of the cloud. And once they started tasting that, they now feel the benefits of the cloud, right? Let me take an example. We have, as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of data that is coming in from various devices, IoT devices, network devices, your mobile devices. There are so much of data that we can actually consume. But in order to consume these data and apply all the AI ML algorithm, we also need to have a lot of compute resources. Mr. Yogesh rightly pointed out that in a defense organization, they are limited to have everything on premise. So he has to invest a lot of compute, resources to really do all these kind of analytics. But cloud gives us an option to really make use of large amount of compute resources in a very short span of time. It's much more elastic, and you can simply scale in few hours, right? And that's why cloud is really giving a lot of benefits when it comes to adopting AI and ML. Because when we talk about AI and ML, it's about consuming a lot of data and giving out the information. For that, we need a lot of resources. And especially in this pandemic, when people are all working from home, you're seeing that your one office in one city is becoming some thousand micro branch, right? People are all working from home and everything is becoming a kind of a micro branch here. That means I need to give them the same kind of experience which he would have if he's coming to office, right? Just because he's at home, and if everything is slow, and just because he's at home, since it's much unsecure, I cannot give him access to certain things. It's gonna end of the day, it's gonna hamper his experience only, right? So we need to ensure that although he's working at home, which is almost kind of a micro branch, we need to ensure we give the same kind of experience to these end users and employees, so that they get the same kind of treatment as if they are inside their office, right? So this is where the security adoption on the cloud is also very important, as the other panelists were mentioning, right? So Juniper helps our customers to go take this approach in a very step-by-step manner. For example, we do have customers who have been using our security solutions. Everything used to be on-premise. Now, as a first step, they can move their management alone as a cloud-based management, and then they can move to something like your SASE model or a secure edge model, where for them the experience would remain the same, where management of this, whether it's an on-premise based device or whether it's a SASE based firewall as a service solution, the management of this, the policies are going to be unified across these things. So we provide our customers ways to move from an on-premise to a cloud-based kind of a solution. And with respect to AI and ML in the cloud, this kind of data and the analytics that helped us to bring in a lot of information, predictive analysis, and we are able to bring in NLP also. I think someone mentioned about using NLP in the law firms to really look into various contract documents and things like that. We also use this kind of NLP to bring in a different use case. For example, a virtual assistant. I'm sure you all would have used Apple's Siri or Google's OK Google command, or the well-known Alexa, right? We often use this in our day-to-day life, right? What do they really bring to the table, right? They are just enhancing your experience, and they are becoming your virtual assistant. Instead of going to multiple steps to do a particular activity, you're just telling Alexa to play a movie or play a song, or order something, right? Just a voice command. We are bringing the same kind of experience in IT. What if you interact with your IT system saying that, hey, who are my bad clients today? Bad clients in the sense who are unhappy clients, right? Who are my unhappy clients today, right? So it will immediately list out the various clients who are not able to connect to the network, or facing some kind of coverage issues, facing some kind of bandwidth issues, so that you can jump onto that and mitigate those issues or resolve those issues. That's the kind of experience that we are talking about here, right? So I would say that what is Alexa to your Amazon Fire Sticks, we are bringing something called Marvis, which was inspired from Jarvis from Iron Man movie. If you have seen that movie, the J has become Marvis in Mist actually. So it's Marvis, which we use as a virtual assistant. But you can't speak to it now. We have not gone to that level, but you can chat with that. And it's not like any bot that you talk about. It's not like a simple bot where there'll be some predefined kind of commands. You only answer that. It's not that way. It uses natural language processing at the back end. You can literally ask any question about your network, like who are my bad clients, how many iPhones are connected to my network in my wireless network, or how many users are having a throughput issue today, right? How many users are not able to really have a connectivity issue? They're not able to connect, right? And with the wireless, wired, SD-WAN, and all coming under one umbrella, as I mentioned in the previous statement also, like we will be able to see an end-to-end connection, which means that I can simply ask Gaurav had a issue with his voice call or a video call. Now, what's really wrong with the video call of Gaurav, right? It can actually pinpoint where exactly the real issue, whether it's the switching, your wireless, your SD-WAN, or is your internet link. It can pinpoint to that level. Instead of going into each and every data or logs and things like that, you just have to ask this virtual assistant. So that's the amount of data analytics that we bring, and we also provide it in a much usable way using this virtual assistant called Marvis, which uses natural language processing at the back end here.
Yeah, definitely. That's an amazing product, and I think everyone should have a look into it. So one thing from user experience monitoring and everything, you also touch upon the security, Vinod. So I think that will be my next topic. So Vamsi, sorry for that time interrupting you, but yes, I think if your mic is good now, you started with the zero trust, so we can take that part, that how analytics or AI can be used to strengthen your organization's security and the zero trust. And then this is something I will like every one of you to put your insights on from the security perspective, and how you think AI will actually help in that way, or zero trust side. So yes, Vamsi.
So thanks, Gaurav. So Vinod, I think you brought a interesting point on how I think exactly that's what we're doing, because new normal is become like a hybrid environment, right? So people are working from home, working from offices. I think zero trust and secure access become a bigger challenges. So what we've been using different solutions. We've been looking at unifying the one single solution where we can draw a lot of analytics. And as you rightly mentioned, I think the looking at user experience one of the challenge. So that's where we have some limitations on leveraging those technologies, but we have a various technologies from a secure access perspective, and also from a secure web access perspective, and also zero posture management perspective. So we are looking at automating, and we do have few isolated solutions, and we started using a little bit of cloud now, so it's a hybrid environment. So we wanted to see where there's a unified solution like SASE, that you're mentioning. So that's a new thing that is coming up. So we want to explore and see how we can leverage those technologies to bring in a lot of analytic and user experience.
Thanks,
So
Vamsi. Yeah. So maybe Mukesh, Yogesh, if you both of you, you like to add from your perspective from security.
Yes, probably, Gaurav. Thanks once again. So probably what I can say across, since the all of the organizations are playing across with the data right now. So from a security perspective, we try to implement certain set of tools, be it VPN, be it firewalls, or maybe different set of tools. What we try to implement to block the users coming across, or maybe the attacks which we block across. But one thing which I wanted to highlight probably, or just to bring across those points, is user awareness. What I can say across. So if our users are vigilant in the background, so probably there would be less chances for the organization to get attacked across. So while we do perform the simulations in the organization, but we still found, I mean, in fact, the data what we have across, we still have users who are not that much vigilant enough and all. So probably that's the one thing which I wanted to focus across, or maybe I want to emphasize on user awareness. That's the one thing, so that in case probably users are more vigilant across not to click phishing emails or respond to the cybersecurity teams in the background, or if they are receiving any emails, or maybe whatever they are if suspicious activities are being monitored across, there is an option for them to report across. But I assume don't more only few of the person are using across internally or leveraging that functionality what is inbuilt across. So that's the major thing what I wanted to highlight across.
Okay, sure, Mukesh. Yogesh, then followed by Harish. I will be coming to you. Yeah.
Yes. So onto the security side, uh, we are also implementing the zero trust network solutions. So it's kind of not only a single solution. It's comprising basically a framework, or you can say it's a concept where we should see, we can look for the servers, we can look for the endpoints where we can protect our data and how we can protect that one, and the kind of network or the applications that we can protect from accessing from any of the outside agency or unauthorized agencies. So we have started that implementing, and initially we had hided that our, our server network, the applications systems from the access of outside networks. So this is the first step that we have taken. Going forward, we'll go to have a deep security over for the same thing.
Sure. Thank you, Yogesh. Harish, I think you have a quite a good experience with security, and as we discussed previously as well. So, how you think the overall approach? Yeah.
I think since everything we have moved on to cloud, that's the first thing that we have done because of the pandemic situation. That's one part of the story. Then I think Mukesh also touched upon the right point on saying the user awareness. Even though our healthcare, basically, when in our healthcare industry in general, I'm just talking about, it's very important that there is something called as a compliance, which needs any of the action points that we do is all circled around the compliance part of it. So that is something which always, whether it is a security, any of the things out, right? So everything circles around the compliance, and the security part comes as one of the centric thing there of focus. In fact, we are doing a lot of things. We have an internal audits, we have external audits. A lot of things are happening in terms of ensuring that the network and the security, because both the things goes one, it's a coupled kind of an approach, network and security together, right? So both the things, when you're talking about, we are trying a lot of things together. And as I mentioned, I mean, as I mentioned earlier in few places, the same thing that we do was we are not experts in that space, right? So that's why we always believe in outsourcing it to another person or partner with another person and get their expertise in few of the areas. And one of the things which I would like to, also, it will be beneficial for all of them out here, is like if we know there's got a use case which states that by using all these, like, by using these kind of intelligence by his product, if it's able to have a kind of a cost, right, towards it, how much cost is being saved. Like, for example, one thing may be the ticket, right? It's the tickets that we have. So if there's a turnaround time for the tickets, that's one part of the things. How many tickets have been saved for that? If you're able to give some kind of any use case on that, that would be easy for, for even presenting it or even to understand things better and push the case further. That's something which I wanted to tell Vinod. I think it's going to help you in a long way. If you have a kind of a case study with you, which talks about after implementing, so many tickets have been saved, and because of which so many man hours have been saved, and so many resources have been saved. And at the same time, if you have something where you have a bandwidth being choked, because one, if there is where there is no dedicated bandwidth for that matter, right? So where you have bandwidth in general, and where one application is just taking at the bandwidth mode. How do you optimize the bandwidth? Or instead of going for another bandwidth, right? So what are the different use cases that you come through it will actually help, to get this forward to it. That's my thought onto it, Gaurav.
Sure. Vinod or Raghu, you will like to take this?
Yeah, yeah.
Ye-
Harish, thanks for that feedback. And in fact, yes, we do have few tools that really help customers understand what is that they get out of this. One, they visually or practically see experience. That is one thing. Then someone who's seeing that, he also needs to project it back to his management, saying that, hey, you see that this is what the savings that I get out of this solution is something important, right? Because there are certain departments who just look at the outcomes with respect to money tied or monetary thing tied to it, right? So I understand your point. We do have some tools which helps us to come out with these analysis of how much is being saved and things like that. That's one publicly available tools available when we adopt AI based, ML based solution. That is one thing. And while you use the solution also, especially in SD-WAN, I've seen this where we have a live tool which for example, for an instance, I'm just taking this example where we have a live analysis of, since you're going with an session-based DWAN solution, how much do you save against what if you had gone with a traditional overlay-based SD-WAN solution? How much would have been a bandwidth? And if you add some cost added to it, it will give you those things directly as you use this in your network, like specific to your network, or not a generic value here. So there are tools available, but obviously, it's not complete. I would say there is always a scope for improvement, for any of such tools, right? So we would take your feedback, and we would be happy to share those tools with you also later after these sessions, so that you can have a look at it and provide more feedback on those things.
Sure.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Vinod. Thank you.
So Raghu, you also
I would
want to
like
add
to
something
add
on
on.
this? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, correct. So yes, let's. There are a lot of data. There are a lot of technologies, right? We are calling everything as a next generation. I would like to start with the basics, right? So what Harish has mentioned here on the predictive analysis, the cost optimization, and all those stuff. We have to understand what is important, right? When we are one of the decision makers and leaders, and who have team, right, who works on the ground field, right? What is important for us to ensure our business continuity, right? Mr. Yogesh is saying something. He's on mute. Sorry.
No. Yogesh, you are adding something? No, Raghu, you go on. Yeah.
Okay. So for me, I have worked as a support engineer way back in 2002, and then moved the ladder, right? For me, what I've understood is we can effectively utilize the technology because fault finding is, if I understand the fault where it is, then it is very easy to do a RCA for that, right? And that's where the Mavis like tool comes into picture, right? So it is very important because most of the time the teams spend when they are right. If you remember that one story where the captain of the ship is struggling with the engine, and then there was a guy, he calls in to look for the maintenance. He comes in with a hammer. He looks at the engine, and at one precise point, he just taps it with the hammer, and $30,000. Wherein, when asked, you why so much of money, he said $1,000 for the hammer and $29,000 where to hit that hammer in the right way. So it is like that. We have to use technology up to our potential where to identify the fault. So for that, we need data. Now data is coming in. We are talking about the data coming in from the various segment. Let it be from the cloud, from the other SDN, SD-WAN. So SD-WAN, again, I heard from the evaluating it. Frames are frozen on my screen.
Yeah, Raghu, you're breaking up.
So I was just
Uh,
thinking it's on my side. Yeah, I was just trying to fix that. Yeah,
no, I think it is clear now. It has been.
yeah.
So SD-WAN, of course, every vendor have their own way of stating what SD-WAN is. There is no precise definition for SD-WAN, right? If we are talking about a VLAN as a technology, it has a precise definition. It is nothing but a segmentation of the LAN segment, right? Broadcast domain. So SD-WAN doesn't have any precise definition. If I am a guy who have a firewall and have capability to fire up IPsec tunnel, I can say that, and I can make a statement that yes, I do have SD-WAN functionality because I do have my monitoring station at the central place, and I can monitor and all the IPsec VPN tunnel and steer the traffic. SD-WAN is all about understanding your application, all about your application performance, all about your application availability, and your end user experience, because that matters most. After all, we are working to ensure that the end user experience should be enhanced at all the time, so the productivity level can go up. So that is where Juniper, along with Juniper, plays a pivotal role in educating our customer with their technology, right? We are
Sure.
talking about not firing up a IPsec VPN tunnel or any kind of VPN tunnel, which adds an overhead, which is nothing but translates into the performance degradation, which ultimately translate into lack of end user experience, right? Working on session-based technologies which understand, having the understanding of application level protocols, which gives you the greater performance, because gone are those days. We are not in the era of traditional network. We are in the era where it is everything is application driven. Application is the crux. If your application is down, you have isolation, you have revenue losses, right? You cannot get. So how we can work on it? We do have effective technology along with Juniper on that aspect. So wherein we don't work on to the tunneling mechanism, we ensure that data is encrypted end to end. It is passed on the same wire end to end, and we can leverage cost-effective links. Let it be migrating from multiple MPLS to one MPLS and multiple broadband links to ensure data delivery, data availability, application availability, and reachability, which enhances end user conformance. The classic example what Vinoth has given and has proven in multiple POCs. You fire up a Teams call or a Zoom meeting and then do a changeover of links, either manually or let the link go down automatically. Your experience, the call will not, you will never have a jitter, you will never have a lag in your communication, you will never have a frame freezing issues, what I recently experienced in my network as well. Probably it is a failure. So that is all about this thing.
Thanks,
Using
Raghu. I think,
technology. Yeah, we are crossing time. Oh, so
yeah,
I
so
will rest
actually,
my thoughts here.
yeah.
I'm extremely sorry. I will rest my
Sure, I
thought
think
here.
we are already on time, and we are getting that people are want to go into another calls. I'm getting the messages. So guys, maybe another 2 minutes I will take, and I think we discuss a lot about the user experience and the networking side, and also the security. So when we combine these two things, which is in the trend now, we call it as a SASE, which is there. And I'll just like Vinod to conclude this session and give a small overview on what SASE is and if that's the future. And yeah, so we will be here for another 10, 15 minutes, and maybe Aditya, I think I missed from some security part of yours. We'd love to have some feedback from you, but taking the time constraint, so let me just go on Sase, and then if you have some thoughts, let me know, and we will try to conclude this session in next 3 to 4 minutes max, so that you can go to another call. Yeah, Vinod.
Sure, Gaurav. SASE, as we call this, secure access service edge. It's basically brings together two different worlds and the best of the both worlds, which is your networking and the security together here, right? So, and especially in this era of people working from home, and they need to have access to whatever they access from their office, they need to access all these things from home. So that means the network has to be reachable, and at the same time, you need to provide the same kind of security, right? So things which used to be like a thick branch, right? A branch with a separate routers, firewalls, load balancers, UTM devices has now become a very thin branch where they just need access into a network, right? These thin branch could be your office branches or could be your homes also, where I just need just an internet connectivity. That's it. I don't need to backhaul to my office and providers. Now, why is it important? One, it is important that people are working from different locations. That means you need to have the data closer to their locations so that they have a better experience in accessing these data, right? That is important. So we provide network connectivity, but what about security? Now that plays a key role. Now, what level of data they can access, what level of data they can download, and when they download these data, is this secure? Does it have a malware? All these security functionalities also we need to bring in. We cannot go and put so many devices in everyone's home or every small offices. Now, this is where SASE comes into play, where it can provide all these functionalities at the cloud level, where you can have a firewall as a service, you can have a CASB, you can have a UTM as a functionality from the cloud, you can have advanced threat protection from the cloud, you can have your um, wireless LAN managed completely from the cloud, or management of your firewalls from the cloud, right? So SASE is the future. People are all moving, and in Juniper, we are trying to help our customers who are completely on-premise, and if they prefer to move to SASE, it shouldn't be a complete shift. It has to be a multiple step approach here, right? So as I mentioned before, for example, if you take our security solution, people use our on-prem firewalls and solutions, UTM solutions. Uh, we ask them first, you move your management first, take a baby step. If you are really worried about how SASE would work for you, move towards a cloud-based management where you manage these devices from a cloud, and then you move towards a firewall as a service from Juniper itself. And for you, the user experience or an operator experience would remain the same because it's a unified policies. In fact, you can have a hybrid approach also, where some could be on premise and some could be like on the cloud. So SASE, yes, it looks to be the future, and we see a lot of adoption, especially although pandemic looks like it's subsiding and people are coming back to office, people prefer not to come to office because they have seen that they are able to bring productivity sitting from home, and they're able to do. And in this era, in this time period of the great year of resignation, or whatever they call, right? People want to continue sitting in their home and continue to work. And sometimes if you call them back to office, they are not really willing to come back also. So in these kind of situations, to bring in the same kind of experiences, SASE is really helping us. And on top of it,
Sure.
AI ML also plays a major role, because that helps to bring in all these functionalities together and correlates this data and able to provide a useful data to the operators here.